What we see is not reality itself, but reality exposed to our method of questioning. Werner Heisenberg, one in the fox mask, was the first to move. They didn't stride forward like a sect elder coming to judge. They didn't lunge like a hunter. They drifted. That was the only word Zeng had for it. They crossed the stone with the kind of controlled softness you only get from either decades of training, or not being fully attached to gravity. Up close the mask wasn't smooth, like patch glass. It was carved wood, lacquered in a thin sheen that caught lantern light. The fox's painted expression was clever and amused. The eyes behind it, the only part visible, were not amused. They were very, very old. The fox masked figure stopped a few paces away and gave Han a single polite nod. Han Fei, they said. Their voice was warm, low, intimate, like late-night gossip in a tea house when the shutters are drawn and everyone's secrets are safe because everyone's guilty. Han inclined his head a fraction. Not a bow. Something with edge. Yulan, he said. So, not strangers to each other. Good. Terrifying, but good. The fox mask, Yulan, turned their head. Looked at Zeng. Even through wood and lacquer, the attention had weight. You're the anomaly, Yulan said. Zeng wet his lips. His throat still felt like he'd swallowed dry sand. So I'm told, he said. Yulan's gaze dipped, flicked, cataloging. His posture, his shaking, Vite crouched on his chest like a living alarm. Yun's hand still braced just behind his shoulder, ready to catch him. Han's stance angled between Zeng and the other two masked figures without looking like he was angling between Zeng and the other two masked figures. Then Yulan smiled under the mask, and somehow he felt it. Congratulations, they said softly. You broke heaven. Zeng let out a rough, humorless snort. It was already cracked when I found it. That earned the smallest tilt of the fox mask. Approval? Amusement? Testing? He couldn't tell. Yulan said. True. The figure in the weeping woman mask stepped forward next. Their robes whispered, layered and formal, like mourning clothes. The mask itself was pale and round-cheeked, with painted tears shining under downcast eyes. When they stopped, they did not look at Han. They did not look at Yun. They did not look at Madame Shad, who was standing with knives in hand and the posture of an executioner who would prefer to skip to the part with blood. They looked only at Zeng. You moved memory, they said quietly. Their voice was soft and low, but it wasn't delicate. It carried like incense smoke, steady and penetrating. Zeng swallowed. I moved a village. You moved memory, they repeated, sharper. The hair rose on the back of his neck. Because he knew what they meant. He didn't just drag Tianling's buildings across the scene. He didn't just hide people from rollback. He took the fact of those people, their shared time, their grief, their rituals, their names, and refused to let the system overwrite it. He told heaven this happened, and you don't get to say it didn't. That wasn't relocation. That was theft. The weeping masked figure, whose name he didn't know yet, lowered their chin a fraction. There is a cost, they said. Han let out a soft hiss. We haven't even started extortion and you're already at cost? He muttered. The third figure, the one with the screaming bird mask, laughed, sharp and delighted and just this side of unhinged. We always start at cost, they said brightly. Their mask wasn't sad or sly. It was furious. Beak open in perpetual cry, brush strokes jagged like slashes. Their voice came through it like a knife wrapped in silk. We're not heaven. We don't pretend anything's free. Zeng pushed himself up a little higher. The world lurched, Yun's hand tightened on his shoulder, steadying him. Then let's not pretend, he said. Who are you, what do you want, and is anyone here going to die in the next 60 seconds if I answer wrong? I'm low on patience. Yulan made a pleased sound behind the fox mask. Oh, I like you, they murmured. Keep him, Fei. He's not a stray, Yun snapped instantly. Yulan's head turned slightly. Those old eyes, amused again now, lingered on her for a beat. No, they said, and Zeng couldn't quite read their tone. Clearly not. Han cleared his throat. Zeng Wei, he said, with the air of someone introducing a dangerous client to a dangerous supplier. Sky market etiquette. These three operate under various names, depending which world you ask. Some call them ghost walkers, some call them petitioners, Some go with deck binders, but if you ask them, you'll use our titles. The screaming bird mask cut in, delighted. They'll use their titles. Han finished drying. Yuan dipped their head, performing it like ritual. I am Yuan, they said. In the market I speak as contract fox. I speak for the living, and for those who bargain on the edge of breath. The weeping woman mask bowed exactly 1 inch. I am Wei Lan, they said. In the market I speak as Morning Face. I speak for the unburied, the erased, the carried grief. The screaming bird mask swept a dramatic little half bow that was 70% threat, 30% theater. I am Chow, they said brightly. In the market I speak as Red Throat. I speak for anger. And for revenge. Zeng blinked. You have a division of labor. We have specialties, Red Throat said, sounding offended at the understatement. You wouldn't hire a bone mender to call lightning, would you? I just watched our healer set a man's shoulder, boil water, and threatened to nail me to a bed in under an hour, Zeng said. So actually, yes, I would. Yun's mouth twitched. Yulan's fox mask tilted in approval. They said. He does understand value. Han muttered, please don't adopt him, under his breath. Zeng ignored them. He looked straight at Morning Face. You said there's a cost, he said. Say it. Morning Face's painted tears glimmered in lantern-light. Memory abhors vacuum, they said softly. When the patch erases, it doesn't simply delete it. It pulls. It takes the lived moment, the name, the echo of that person's warmth in the world, and it drags it out of circulation. It cages it. It stacks those cages in the dark and it calls the cleanup. Zeng's pulse kicked. Echo hands, he whispered. Yes, Morning Face said, and for the first time their voice cracked. Those are leaks. Spills. Breakage. What escapes the cage when the patch pulls too fast, too greedily, or doesn't close the seam? You're saying those things we saw weren't bait, Zeng said slowly. They were. Prison leaks. Morning Face lifted their chin. I am saying, they said, each word sharpened like a blade, that the patch cages grief. I am saying it cages memory. I am saying heaven is hoarding your dead like contraband. Zeng swallowed. He heard Madame Shen inhale, long and slow, behind him. He felt Yun's hand tighten. Han swore under his breath, something vicious and reverent. Here is the cost, Morning Face said. When you moved Tianling, you tore a hole in the cage. You said to heaven, no. You don't get to keep this. Tianling's memory spilled back into itself. Good. Beautiful. Necessary. They leaned in. Their voice softened to something that slid right under his ribs. But not only Tianling came through. The dock felt colder. Zeng's skin prickled. What else? He whispered. Now Yulan, contract fox, stepped in again, smooth and unhurried. Patterns, they said. Names. Hungers. Things that were stolen so long ago nobody living remembers them, and now they're loose again because you kicked the door. Red Throat let out a delighted little hum. And they are angry. Zeng felt something tight coil low in his gut. Define loose, he said quietly. Loose where? Yulan's eyes crinkled above the fox mask. Here, they said. In the sky market. In your tether. In you. Zeng blinked. In me. Han winced. Yeah. That part I was going to bring up gently. Define in me, Zeng said, more sharply. Morning Face tilted their head. You're carrying them, they said simply. I am not, Zeng started, and then stopped, because the moment he tried to deny it his own body betrayed him. Ever since he'd woken up in this world, he'd felt crowded. He'd written it off as shock, adrenaline, bleed from the tether. Noise. Background. Tonight, walking in the dark, holding Tianling together, he'd felt it even more voices, pressure, presence, heat that wasn't his. Now, with Morning Face's words cutting through his denial like a scalpel, he let himself feel it. There. Under his own heartbeat. Under his own thoughts. Something that wasn't Patch. Wasn't core. Wasn't his. Like hands gripping the back of his shirt, refusing to let go. Not many. A handful. 5? 6? Maybe 7? Not shapes. Not personalities. Not I am Lin, I died in the flood individual clarity. More like charges. Wills. Magnet pulls. Hurt that refused to go quiet. And this was what made his skin crawl and his throat burn at the same time, trust. They were holding onto him because they thought he could carry them through. He sucked in a breath. "Oh," he said, voice small. Yun, still braced just behind him with one hand on his shoulder, went very, very still. "Zeng," she whispered. "What is it?" He swallowed. "Company," he said. Han blew out a slow breath. "Yeah," he muttered. "Welcome to being a beacon." Zeng dragged a hand down his face. His palm came away shaking. "Okay," he said. "Okay. So I tore a hole in Heaven's Grief jail, and now some of what spilled out is holding on to me. You're saying that's the cost?" "No," Morning Face said. Zeng blinked. "There's more." "Of course there's more," Red Throat said brightly. Morning Face's painted mask tilted, just a fraction. "The cost," they said quietly, "is that what you're carrying will now be hunted." The dock seemed to tilt under it. "Hunted by Patch," Zeng said. "Yeah. That's already, hunted by everything," Morning Face said. Zeng's mouth went dry. Contract Fox folded their arms inside their sleeves, posture elegant, eyes sharp. "When a name is caged, absence rearranges around it," they said. "Families learn to say I never had a brother. Lovers learn to say I never promised anyone my life. Villages learn to say no one died here. Ghosts learn to stop asking to be seen." They leaned in the smallest degree. "You broke that," they murmured. "You understand what that means?" Zeng swallowed hard. "Spell it out," he whispered. "It means," Contract Fox said gently, "that feeling can exist again. It means grief can exist again. It means anger can exist again. It means memory can exist again, publicly, in daylight, without being stripped and fed back into the machine." Red Throat made a low, hungry sound. "And there are things in this world who have been starving for that for a very long time." Zeng felt cold. "They're coming," he whispered. "Yes," Red Throat purred. "For me," he said. "For whatever cracked the lock," Red Throat said, delighted. "For Tianlin," Yun said, voice sharp. Morning Face turned their mask toward him. "No," they said softly. "Not first. Tianling is. Warm. Live. Anchored. They are a hearth. Hearths are not hunted first. Hunters go first for the spark." Her mask turned back to Zeng. "You," Morning Face said. Zeng had never wanted to throw up and laugh and scream all at once so badly. He swallowed it. "All right," he said, because what else was there to say? "So let me guess. This is where you tell me your price to keep the sky market from throwing you, and my spark, off the side." Red Throat actually clapped, delighted. "See? They sang." "Gets it." Han sighed. "This is that extortion part I mentioned," he muttered. Contract Fox chuckled, unbothered. "Extortion," they said lightly, "is such an ugly word. I prefer terms of sanctuary." Madame Shen made a very rude sound. Contract Fox ignored her with professional grace. "Here are ours," they said, voice taking on a formal cadence now. "Listen carefully. The market bends law to shelter what heaven rejects. We do it because we remember being erased. We do it because we are stubborn. We are not kind. We are not safe. We are not cheap." "What do you want?" Zeng said. "We want your promise," Contract Fox said. Zeng blinked. That's it? You want a promise?" "I'm full of promises. I hand them out like candy." Han muttered, "Oh no," under his breath. Yun's fingers dug just slightly into his shoulder. "Hard enough to say, think." Morning Face's voice slid in low. "Contract Fox promise isn't breath," they murmured. "It's binding." Zeng frowned. "Binding how?" Contract Fox's eyes glittered. "Binding like gravity," they said. "Binding like hunger. Binding like this happened carved into the bone of the world. We were born because heaven broke its promises. We learned. We do not break ours." Zeng sucked in a breath. "Okay," he said. "You want my promise to do what?" "Keep doing what you did in Tianlin," Contract Fox said simply. He blinked. "That's it?" "That's it," Contract Fox said. "Keep stealing grief from heaven. Keep tearing holes in the Patch's cage. Keep giving memory back to itself." Keep saying, out loud, you were here. Morning Face bowed her weeping mask 1 inch. Keep the dead from being taken, they whispered. Red Throat leaned forward, voice gone low and eager and reverent. And when someone tries to take them anyway, they breathed, hurt them. Zeng stared. His heart was hammering. He had expected pay and talismans, give us your tether, hand over Tianling as leverage, become our weapon, something transactional and ugly and power hoarder obvious. What they were asking for wasn't a cut. It was alignment. For that, Contract Fox said softly, the market shelters your village, binds you under our protection, and calls dead on anyone, patch, core, sect, scavenger, god fragment, anything that crawled out of an echo hand, who crosses that line while you are under our roof. The air on the dock felt heavy. We're offering to go to war with heaven, Yun said flatly. Red Throat laughed, bright and vicious. Little healer, they sang. We've been at war with heaven. The difference is now we can do it without pretending we're ashamed. Han made a tiny helpless gesture like, see? This is what I was talking about. Zeng let out a sound somewhere between a breath and a laugh. The cost, he said hoarsely, if I break this promise. Contract Fox's head tilted. Morning Face's painted tears gleamed. Red Throat's mask grinned its painted scream. You won't, Red Throat said. That should not have chilled him. It did. Because if you did, Morning Face whispered, the ones holding onto you now would let go. Zeng's breath hitched. He looked down, instinctively, at his own hands. They were still shaking. He flexed his fingers. Inside him, those clinging presences, those pieces of grief and stubborn will and we were here, tightened in answer, like small hands gripping his sleeve. He swallowed hard. They'd leave me, he whispered. No, Morning Face said, and there was something almost kind in their voice now. He'd stopped believing you could carry them somewhere better. He'd still feel them. He'd just feel them go cold. He shut his eyes. That was worse. That was so much worse. Slowly, he opened his eyes again. Okay, he said softly. Make the promise. Yun inhaled sharply. Zeng, he turned his head, just enough to catch her in his peripheral vision. Her eyes were wide. Afraid. Fierce. He tried to smile. It probably came out wrecked. Said it, he whispered. Live. Her jaw clenched. Her throat worked. She looked like she wanted to argue with him in 6 different ways and couldn't pick one. She swallowed hard. Then she nodded once, sharp. Han blew out a long breath through his nose. Well, he muttered. Guess we're really doing this. Madame Shen shifted her grip on her knives and gave Contract Fox a look like, you touch any of mine and I carve out your spine. His promise binds us to anything that hurts my people, she said coolly. I will personally cut open whatever you have instead of a stomach and see if it bleeds. Contract Fox beamed behind the fox lantern. You'll thrive here, they said warmly. Love you already. Madame Shen sniffed. Contract Fox turned back to Zeng and lifted one hand, palm up. Her sleeve slid back an inch. Under the robe, their wrist was wrapped in something that wasn't quite cloth and wasn't quite smoke. It shimmered faintly, like strips of paper with names written on them and then burned, the ash twisted into a band. Your hand, Contract Fox said softly. Zeng stared at that offered palm. He glanced at Han. Han grimaced. Yeah, he said. This part hurts. Define hurts, Zeng said. On a scale of stubbed toe to I am currently a tether for a stolen village while experiencing existential drift, Han said, it's about a bit more than stubbed toe. Great, Zeng muttered. Love that scale. He reached out. Yun sucked in her breath like she wanted to grab him and stop him. She didn't. Bite, still on his chest, made a low, warning MMORPG noise at Contract Fox that translated roughly to if he dies I eat your face. Zeng laid his palm in Contract Fox's. Her hand was warm. Too warm. Live warm. Not corpse cold ritual drama, not mystical chill. Human warm. That, more than anything, startled him. He had half expected something airy, ghost-like. Something like the core. Something like patch-like. Something like echo hand edges. Instead he felt pulse. Real pulse. Yulon/Contract Fox's thumb pressed lightly against his wrist. Zeng Wei, they said, voice going low, nearly reverent. You, in clear mind and will, bind yourself to this, that you will continue to say no to erasure, that you will continue to tear down cages where you find them, that you will continue to pull the stolen living and the stolen dead out of heaven's throat and name them, and that you will refuse to let grief be turned into silence? Lantern light caught on the lacquer of the fox mask. The entire dock, market and Tianling together, had gone quiet. Zeng swallowed. His chest hurt. His throat hurt. His whole life hurt. Yes, he whispered. The world moved. It wasn't visual, this time. It wasn't light. It wasn't sound. It was pressure. For a split, flashing heartbeat, Zeng felt the entire market, not just this dock, not just this platform, the market, take a breath and lean in. He felt cables creak. He felt banners stir in still air. He felt old deals and old grudges and old safe houses exhale and say, okay. Ours, then. He felt, distantly, the patch flinch. He felt, and this was the part that made his eyes sting, the core, wherever it listened from, pulling sharply like someone had just grabbed its hand under a table. And something small and searing burned against his wrist. He hissed, involuntary, through his teeth. Yun was right there, free hand flying in, ready to shove Contract Fox away. It's alright, he gasped, shaking. It's okay. I'm okay. Burn wasn't like a brand. It wasn't surface pain. It was deep, fast, like someone had drawn a hot needle under his skin in a sharp arc and then pulled it out. It was over in less than a heartbeat. And he pulled his hand back, gasping. He looked down. There, wrapping his wrist where Contract Fox's thumb had pressed, was a thin ring of ash dark script. It wasn't ink. It wasn't carved. It wasn't sitting on his skin. It was in his skin. He lifted his arm, breathing hard. The script caught lantern light and shimmered. He couldn't read it. He didn't need to. He could feel it. Promise. And, layered under it, protection. He let out a shaking laugh. That's not ominous at all, he muttered. Red Throat laughed, delighted. Look at you, they sang. Look at our little Calamity. Wearing a market bond like a cuff. Han rubbed a hand down his face. Please stop calling my friend a calamity, he muttered. No, Red Throat said happily. Contract Fox let their sleeve fall back into place. None, they said. Market recognizes you. Market recognizes Tianling under you. Sky Market will not turn you away. Anyone who comes for you here answers to us first. Morning Face lifted their chin. And, they said softly, the dead will hear you now, when you call. Zeng's throat worked. That, he whispered, sounds like a lot. It is, Morning Face said simply. Great, he said. Add it to my calendar. Yun exhaled, shaky. So, she said, voice a little too casual. In practical terms, we can sleep. Red Throat clicked their tongue under the screaming bird mask. You can rest, they said. Sleep is between you and whatever talks to you in it. Zeng coughed. That will be fine, he lied. Will not, Han said cheerfully. Shut up, Zeng croaked. Han patted his shoulder. Proud of you, he murmured, and, quietly, like a secret he would never admit if anyone called him on. That was big. Zeng's laugh cracked. Yeah, he whispered. Felt big. Madame Shen shifted her knives to one hand. Contracts are done, she said brusquely. Sanctuary is given. We are tired. Where are we sleeping? Contract Fox actually looked a little taken aback, which was deeply satisfying. Then they laughed, a real, startled sound, unmasked and honest. So fit, they said again, soft with something that almost sounded like affection. You really will. They turned and snapped their fingers. Gia. From the edge of the dock, a woman in patched leather and tool belts jogged over. She looked like she'd been born doing 6 jobs at once. She had wide shoulders, grease on her cheek, and a gaze that flicked over Tianling like she was already measuring where to put bedrolls and how many buckets she'd need to borrow. Quartermaster, Han murmured to Zeng. Not annoy her. She runs more of this place than anyone wearing fancy robes. Gia jerked her chin. The caravan leave? She asked Madame Shen. Madame Shen lifted her chin right back. I am, she said. Good, Gia said. Come with me. We'll tie you into Terrace 7. You'll get floor, Not walls, because walls cost and I'm not charging you until I see how much trouble follows you in, but you'll get cover and water and a piss trench you don't fall off of. Your healer runs triage on your own. Your loud boy, she jabbed a thumb at a teenager near the Bell Crew doesn't climb the cables. If he does, I cut his belt myself. You break market cordage, I throw you off the edge. You keep the chickens quiet or I make them soup. Questions?